As a follow-up to our ongoing investigation of ways in which the diminished seventh chord has been famously used, I'd now like to explain its theoretical basis and also show you a way that you can use it with a dominant chord to intensify a 5/1 resolution. And I'll also show you a way you can use it to transition as a pivot chord to a completely different key. To review, due to diminished seventh's symmetrical formula of stacked minor thirds, moving any shape, diminished seventh shape, up or down the neck in 3-fret increments on the same string group will actually give you the very same chord, with the notes kind of juggled around in different octaves. So there really are only 3 different unique diminished seventh chords, each with 4 inversions, and that gives you 12 keys. So for simplicity's sake, let's look at it like this. We have G diminished 7, C diminished 7, and F diminished 7. I chose those 3 because they don't have the word sharp or flat in their name. Easier to think, right? So our first example here, G diminished 7. This is a voicing we looked at, remember, in Friends in Low Places and Benny and the Jets, right? So we have this open interval. We're not using the A string. It's muted, kind of like when you play a strummed octave. You mute the unused string in between. And you'll find this in a lot of jazz chords, voicings, where you have that kind of open interval. That's actually a major 6. Yeah, a minor third inverted is a major 6. And then you have this tritone, diminished 5th, then a minor third. So I'm borrowing my index finger here at the 2nd fret on the D, G, and B strings, playing my low G root, 3rd fret on the low E, and then 3rd fret B flat on a G string. So the notes are G, E, B flat, C sharp. Okay, that's G diminished 7. Now we take that up 3 frets. That's B flat diminished 7. Same shape, same notes in different octaves. And then 3 more frets, we have C sharp diminished 7, which you can also call D flat diminished 7. And by the way, this can also be A sharp diminished 7, B flat or A sharp, and harmonic equivalents. C sharp or D flat diminished 7, and then E diminished 7. And if you were to continue 3 more frets, you'd have your original G diminished 7 shape, played 12 frets and 1 octave higher. Okay? Now, our next string group, we're going to do a similar kind of open voicing. We have a C diminished 7. Again, we have this open interval here. We're crossing over an unused string in the middle. You can either pluck the notes like this, use finger picking to get, or you could strum across them, making sure you're muting that unused D string in this case. Okay, so that's C, A, E flat, or D sharp, and then G flat, or F sharp on top. That's our second string group, okay? It's the A, G, B, and high E strings. Move that up 3 frets. That's E flat diminished 7, also known as D sharp diminished 7. 3 more frets. That's G flat diminished 7, also known as F sharp diminished 7. 3 more frets. That's A diminished 7, and then C diminished 7. But they are all the same chord. The notes, some of the notes move up an octave, some move down an octave. Okay, and now you could take that voicing and drop your high note down an octave. So now, here's C diminished 7 again, but I took that high F sharp note and I moved it down to the D string, 4th fret. As you can tell, that sounds thicker, right? And it's it gets to be a little muddy if you go too low with it. E flat diminished 7, or D sharp diminished 7. G flat or F sharp diminished 7. A diminished 7. C diminished 7. Give it that nice little shake if you want. And then you can do some neat things like this. Where you can go. Get that kind of classical harp-like arpeggiation. Those voicings generally sound better in the middle register. If you go too low with that, like if I were to play that on the bass, obviously it would sound like fart tone mud, right? So, and that's because of this tritone, diminished fifth interval. Now for the F diminished 7 shape, this is a very popular shape actually. A lot of guitar players, they usually go to this one. If someone says diminished 7, play me diminished 7, they're like, okay. So it's F, B, D, A flat, or G sharp on top. Okay, that's F diminished 7. Move it up 3 frets. G sharp diminished 7, or A flat diminished 7. B diminished 7, D diminished 7, F diminished 7. It's kind of a delirious sound, right? Okay, now the theoretical basis that I promised. In music theory, diminished 7 is a harmonic minor scale's 7th chord. So for example, in the key of A harmonic minor, you have a chord built off of each one of those notes. You have A the root, B the second, C the minor or flat 3, D the 4, E the 5, F the minor or flat 6, G sharp the 7 or major 7. So diminished 7 chord lives in that scale because all the notes are contained within the scale and they all want to resolve to A minor. So we could look at this. F diminished 7 resolving to A minor, like that. Here's a scale. You could also think of that as D diminished 7, G sharp diminished 7, or B diminished 7. I know it's a little crazy with all these aliases, also known as, but that's how diminished 7 works. And then you can go like this. G sharp diminished 7 to A minor. That's actually probably the clearest example. Here's your 7th chord, 7th chord in A harmonic minor, resolving to A minor. And you can resolve it like this. Have the top note go up, as opposed to the contrary motion. And then remember, you take all these symmetrical inversions. Now we're taking B diminished 7 and resolving to A minor. It sounds just like G sharp diminished 7 because it is. It's just an inversion of it. And then you can do this. B diminished 7 to A minor like that. Notice how I went up instead of. And then we could take D diminished 7, resolve to this high 2nd inversion voicing of A minor. So again, that whole thing is. If you wanted to, you could do the first one up an octave. Now, if you were to play any of these G sharp diminished 7 chords, or its inversions, over an E bass note, which is the 5 in the key of A minor, you would get what's called E7 flat 9. So, for example, I'm going to take this G sharp diminished 7 voicing here. Instead of thinking of G sharp as your bass note, resolving to A minor, like the leading tone resolution, you could put that over the 5 chord bass note, E. And that gives you E7 flat 9, which another way to look at it is E7 root 3rd, 5th, flat 7, and there's your flat 9. So what we're doing is we're superimposing the notes of G sharp diminished 7 over a low E bass note, which is the 5. So we're making it 5, 7, flat 9. E7 flat 9 resolving to A minor. And if you were to take, in the last example, we did this. Okay, now we're going to do that, but with a low E pedal tone. I'm going to hit my low E string and allow it to ring. And then I'll go to the open A note. So now you're hearing it as E7 flat 9 to A minor. Again, E7 flat 9 to A minor, different inversions. You could also keep that low E pedal tone going over both the E7 flat 9 and the A minor chords, which will give you your second inversion A minor. Remember, second inversion A minor. And composers back in the day, 18th, 19th centuries, loved to do that, to create drama in their symphonies. So you'd have building tension because it's not quite resolving unless you go to A. You can finally hit the A note. You can go. That has a more satisfying resolution to it. A good guitar example of E7 flat 9 used in a relatively modern piece, 1969 song, I Want You, She's So Heavy by the Beatles is a good example. So that's the voicing, it's E7 flat 9. We're leaving out the fifth. Oftentimes you'll have that in a dominant 7 chord. You just have the root, the third, the minor or flat 7, and the flat 9. The fifth is kind of understood. Like it's not really necessary. That's the song you recall. It goes. There you go. That's kind of unsettling in part, right? And then. All right, so there's a magical suspense chord, E7 flat 9. And also, at the end of each verse, they go. That's the guitar part. Then Paul McCartney plays on the bass. Yeah, that begs to resolve somewhere. You don't want to end a song on that, right? So go back to the verse, or at the end, it goes back to the D minor thing. So there's a pop song usage of 7 flat 9. I'll conclude today's lesson with an intriguing trick, which is to use the same diminished 7th chord with its 4 inversions to move up the fretboard and modulate each time to a different minor chord in a completely different minor key. So this is how it works. We have A minor. I'm playing on the middle 4 strings here, and then I'm playing B diminished 7. And then, wow, C minor? Why does that work? Because B diminished 7 is the 7th chord of C minor. And then we got D diminished 7. Now we're in E flat minor. So we went from A minor to C minor to E flat minor. Kind of film score-y type of sounds, right? And then you can keep the pattern going. F diminished 7. Now we're in F sharp minor. And then G sharp diminished 7 to A minor. We'll come back down. See how it works? It goes down too, a whole step. That's F diminished 7, now going to E flat minor. D diminished 7, C minor. B diminished 7, A minor. So if you're looking for a neat way to modulate like that, diminished 7 is like kind of like your universal donor, all-purpose pivot chord. Or you can do something more interesting, like arpeggiate it somehow, like. Go. Kind of dark and haunting, right? Interestingly, one last thing, and this is a little preview of something I'm going to cover soon in the future, is that root motion that forms what's actually called the 8-note whole half diminished scale.